This is exactly how you can get pro level building mechanics. This will be the one summary you need of all info to improve your mechanics extremely fast. So if you apply and take note of everything in this short video, you'll be one step closer to going pro. First of all, I need to clear out a big misunderstanding most people have. There's a big difference in between pro players, as in competitive players, and creative warriors mechanics. Pro players practice building moves they can use in real matches, while creative warriors often use retakes that are useless in real games. So to get pro building mechanics, you should practice moves that are actually useful. Key properties of good retakes are being fully covered, they don't use too much mats, and they're not too complicated. Ideally, you should be able to follow with piece control as well. Before I teach you the secrets to piece control, you must first know about peaks, because you can perfect your retakes and follow a perfect piece, but with a bad peak you'll still die. To keep it short, the most important thing about peaks is being as little exposed as possible. Not only that, but be unpredictable to your opponent. But how do you do that? If you use this peak for example, and you didn't do enough damage to get a kill, do not follow up with the same peak. So many people make this mistake, do something he doesn't expect. But now moving on to piece control. Just like with peaks, you want to be as unexposed as possible. Except with piece you don't have to be exposed at all. Practice piecing from behind full cover, it'll change your game. Speaking about changing your game, optimize your routine to be as effective as possible. Your routine is the one thing that will make you improve tremendously over time. This goes further than just building mechanics. Even your game sense will improve over time if you include stuff like VOD reviewing into your routine. But this video is about learning how to build like a pro. So what should you do in your routine? Well, your routine should be adapted to what you need to improve on. If you struggle with something specific, like a specific retake, do it every day. But that's not all that's to it. If you want to be able to build like a pro in game, then practice on higher delay. For example in a creative field lobby, because most players won't be on 0 ping in game. It's also much more realistic practice, as you can practice your retakes while under pressure. The next step is the most important, but also the most overlooked. That is being fully aware while building. Pros always know where their opponent is and where third bodies are. Being aware will make sure you don't get caught by surprise, and you don't get hit by an angle you forgot to block. But even if you know where your opponent is, you should still block off your back so you don't get sprayed by a third body. Now you might be thinking, this is a building mechanics video but you haven't given us any retakes yet. Well, the reason is, the best way to learn useful retakes is by watching and copying the pros. But luckily for you, I'll save you some time and give you some good ones. These are the ones you must know, starting off from easy ones to more advanced ones. First of all, side jumps. There's many different variants. Start off with simple side jumps, then move on to these fully covered ones, and finally this one with a ramp. The next one is useful at the start of a fight. It's very simple, but it might take some time to get the movement right. This one is called the Twifo cone. You can finish it off with this to get additional height. I'll tell you something very important about retakes that you should take note of in a second, but first you must know how to tarp properly. There's many variants you should know to go pro. Normal tunnels, cheap tarps, diagonal tarps, and upward tarps. Now the disclaimer is that you should never force a retake. You should always use what is best in the situation. This might sound logical, but don't just randomly crank up way too high. You'll just get chopped down and die. Now the last part I haven't mentioned yet is settings. I keep this at the end for a reason. That's because most people overthink it a lot. Just make sure you use scroll wheel reset, a sensitivity you like that's not too slow or fast, custom diagonal movement, and for the rest just keybinds you like. Never blindly copy someone else's settings. Now that you know how to build, it's time to move on to the next part of your journey to going pro, and the video on the screen can help you with that.